Welcome to episode 6 of Year of Writing. Today I wanted to talk about something a little bit more personal. The fact that fear was actually holding me back from getting published for quite some time. And I don't know if any one of you has ever experienced the fact that you think you're not good enough to do something, or you're convincing yourself that you're not ready for the next step because it's scary. And today I wanted to talk about how we can tackle all these fears. And one of the things, like, what do I mean when I say that fear was holding me back from getting published? So every time I picked up the manuscript, Flykten, The Escape, and started to edit it, I felt like, it could be improved somehow. I felt like it could always become better. In the first episode of this podcast series, I talked about the fact that I studied creative writing at university. And once I graduated, there were a few years when I basically, wrote on and off, primarily editing the manuscript Flykten. But, every time I picked it up, I sort of felt like it could improve some more. And I never felt ready to send it to publishing houses because I thought it wasn't good enough. I thought it was too short. Grammar wasn't good enough. The dialogue wasn't good enough. And during the time at university, I also wrote the first draft of a fantasy series called The Forbidden Circle. It took years until I picked that one up again and started editing it and continuing writing on the series as well. I don't know what I was afraid of, but I do feel like fear had some part in holding me back from writing and finishing it. It was not until I read Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way, that some of the internal blockages that I had, that I could let go of them. And that book actually helped me to say, you know what, this is good enough. I'm going to try and send this book to some publishers, a few publishers, and see if anyone likes it. And you know what? One of them said, yes, we want to publish your book. And I'm thinking, wow, that was such a relief. And, it was mind-shattering. I honestly did not expect to get accepted straight away because, you hear all these stories about people getting rejection letters and stuff like that. And that's the thing, the worst thing that could have happened if I sent it in before was that I could have gotten a rejection letter. The best thing could have been that I would have published my book earlier. So the fact that I did not do it is, it was a life lesson for sure. So why do I want to talk about fear when it comes to writing? Because I think that it's something a lot of us are struggling with, and I think it's something that might hold us back from reaching our full potential. And there are a few things that I've learned from the last couple of years that I wanted to share with you. And the first thing is that you're never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready to, to hold that speech in front of a bunch of people. You're never going to feel ready to let someone else read your book, your first manuscript. But in the end, it doesn't matter if you're ready or not. Just do it. Just get out there. And honestly, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is that you fail, that you get a rejection. And what do you do when you get a rejection? You get up again and try again. You learn from it and you try again. That's what separates a winner from a loser, if you ask me. A winner will continue and try again and try to learn from every rejection, every failure. But always, always get up again. And honestly, people around you won't care as much as you think they will, because everyone's so caught up in their own life and feel like, everyone feels like the main character in their own story. So if you try something and fail, they won't trash talk you. They won't think ill of you. They won't laugh at you because they're too caught up in their own world and in their own problems. So no one will care. No one will notice. And it doesn't matter, even if they do. What difference does it make? People like J.K. Rowling, even she got rejected from so many publishers until someone picked her up and said, okay, let's do this. And I mean, in the beginning, it was quite a small print, but then she became one of the most successful authors through our time. Just on the imposter syndrome or the fear of failure stop you from reaching your goals, stop you from reaching your dreams. The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins is a great book about how you can overcome the fear of failure. So in the book, she talks about the fact that you must face your fears and do what scares you. When you get an impulse to do something, just do it. But you have to do it within 5 seconds, because otherwise your brain will come up with the reasons why you shouldn't do it. Let's take snoozing, for example. So if you promise yourself you're going to get up in the morning when the first alarm rings, which is best for you. I mean, snoozing is not good at all. Read Why We Sleep and you'll see. Okay, so that was a sidetrack. If you promise yourself that you're going to get up when the first alarm rings, what you can do in the morning is to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And within those seconds, you have to get up. And if you don't get up within 5 seconds, like the thing you do when you count backwards is that you interrupt your thought patterns and your brain goes like, what's going on? Which means that it stops making up excuses for you to go back to sleep and just snooze for a little bit. So instead, you just get up, you count down, and you get up within 5 seconds, and you're good. You did it. And you can apply this one to a lot of things that scare you, like public speaking, or maybe you dream of launching a YouTube channel. Maybe you dream of publishing a book. Just do it. Count down, say yes to the opportunities that present themselves, and just do it. So I definitely recommend reading her book or listening to her podcast. She's a great inspiration for me. And here are a few other examples on things that might be holding us back, fears that might be holding us back from doing what we want to do. One thing is comparing ourselves to best-selling authors within our genre. If I compare myself to Dan Brown, Sarah J. Maas, or James Clear, I might think that I'm not good enough as a writer because, they wrote these epic stories that sold millions of copies. I don't know how much they sold, but still. And maybe I feel like, my language isn't good enough. I don't have all the plot twists in order. I don't have, all the pieces of the puzzle there. But the thing is, we should never compare ourselves to others. We should learn from others. We should be inspired by others and let them be our mentors. And as James Patterson says in his masterclass, to become a great writer, you have to write. So another thing is like if you want to master the art of writing, then you have to write as much as possible. And I think that maybe you are the next best-selling author, but you will never know if you are or if you aren't until you've mastered that fear, until you've tried. And also, I think writing is a continuous learning journey where we become better and better at expressing ourselves and at painting stories for the readers. So what if your first debut novel is just okay? Well, that's fine. I know a bunch of best-selling authors that their first books, they're so-so, but their third book, their fourth book is amazing. Don't let that discourage you, and don't compare yourself to others. You're unique, and you know what? Someone out there needs your story. Also, if you want to climb a mountain, the only way to reach the top of the mountain is one step at a time. Remember that when the goal seems too big or whatever. Another fear that might be holding you back, that might be holding us back from writing is the fear of not having time. And I call bullshit on that one, because if you ask me, if something is important to you, you make time for it. You can carve out a few minutes while you wait in line to pay at the grocery store, right on your mobile. We have all these devices today that actually, sync with our computers, so you can write anywhere, anytime. And if writing is important to you, you create time. Another fear that might be holding us back is the fear of never finishing. So why even bother? If I never finish anything, then why even bother trying to write a book? And I get this. I understand this fear. I mean, writing a book is a huge project. It is. But, I read somewhere that every third person dreams of writing a book one day. So a lot of people have, I guess, fears that are holding them back from writing. But if you ask me, the more people that write, the better, because all writers should read, and the more people that write, the more people will read, which means that, reading and writing will be a self-sustaining business. I mean, look at me. I'm going to read 100 books this year. That's a lot of money to a lot of authors. I spend a lot of money on books, and that's fine because I love reading. I love storytelling, and I want to support the people that inspire me. Back to the fear of never finishing. One way to tackle this fear is to prepare before you start. And how do you do that? Well, one thing you can do is you can create an outline or a mind map. What's the story about? Map it out as much as you can, and save inspiration and stuff like that in folders that you can come back to later. And tip number 2 is to actually create that, write an entire synopsis. What's every chapter going to be about? What are the characters' names? What's going to happen? This will help you both with direction, but it will also make the task seem easier to manage. Step number 3 is to create smaller bite-sized goals. So if the big goal is writing a book, then maybe this first small goal is to create an outline. And the second goal is to write down what's going to happen in each chapter. And maybe the next goal after that is to write the first chapter. And then the second. And then reach 10,000 words. And then write half a book. And once you've reached that goal of having finished the first draft, you know what? You're further along than most people. Most people never even finish the first draft. So once you've done that, congratulations. Unfortunately, you're not done yet. Now you have to edit. And after that, I would recommend sending it to an external editor or proofreaders or something. Just get someone else's eyes on it. Then I would edit once more before sending it to an agent or a publisher. But that's me. And remember that, you know what, I believe in you. So keep writing, and please leave me a comment with how it's going. Are you writing every day? What's your goals? Did you overcome your fear? What are your fears? Another fear that might be holding us back is the fear of, the fear that this has been written before. And there's a great book on creativity and ideas by Austin Kleon called Steal Like an Artist. And in this book, he talks about the fact that there are no original ideas. Everything has been thought of before. Everything has been done before. So, the fear of, oh, someone wrote this before, it doesn't matter because everything has already been done. And just take ideas from different places and mash them together and create something of your own. And one more thing about this one is that, I love reading romance books and fantasy books, which means that I need more books within those genres. It doesn't matter if the stories are similar to each other, because I love reading in those genres. I love immersing myself in those worlds. So please write more. And yeah, don't fear the fact that someone's already done this before. And if you want to write something that is original within a specific genre, try to find the gap that other books does not cover within your niche and write something there. Another fear that might be holding us back is imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is when you doubt your abilities and feel like a fraud. A lot of us that write encounters imposter syndrome at one point or another. I know I have, and I know a lot of author friends that has done this. The thing is with imposter syndrome is that everyone deals with it at one point or another. Every time you switch your jobs or get promoted at work, at first you feel imposter syndrome because you don't know what others expect of you in your new role. And the same thing with being a writer is that you don't know what is expected of you now that you're an author or now that you're a writer. And that's okay. But just don't let it stop you from becoming who you're meant to be. And one thing that can help you here is to make sure to have writer community around you, whether it's online or in real life. Like join a writers group or connect with other writers and talk to them. How did they get through imposter syndrome? What did they do that helped? In my day job, I'm a growth marketer, and this has helped me learn how to handle failure in a better way. I work with data-driven marketing, which means that I do a lot of experiments like A/B testing. I test which ads perform best, which landing pages and stuff like that. And the thing is that once you have a hypothesis, it's not sure. Like that's why you have to try it. You have to get data behind it to see, okay, I think this ad is going to perform better because of X, Y, Z. But then you actually have to try it and do an experiment. And it's not sure that you're right. You may end up, being wrong, and that's fine. Because the good part about working data driven is that you continuously learn and improve. So if, a test that proves you wrong is actually a good thing. And this is something that I'm taking with me into my, author journey, my writer's journey, that it's okay to try things and learn from them. It's okay to fail as long as I get up again and I learn from my mistakes and try again and become a better writer. Because in the end, that's all I want to do, write stories and connect with more people. So I hope this inspires you to let go of some of your fears and remember that fear might be holding you guys back too. Don't let it hold you back. It's not worth it. Get out there and become your best self. If you like this, please subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend. It really helps me as a creator. My name is Natalie Forslind. Thank you so much.